Hey y'all, I just want to do a quick full tour of the garden. There is still a lot to do in the garden, but starting over here on this end where I added these containers, where I was initially going to get rid of these, but decided they would make for some much needed growth space, especially since I wanted to save these volunteer sunflowers. I also added some other things in here, including some Jamaican sorrel, which volunteered in my front yard. I grew it last year. There are also herbs in here. The sunflowers are already blooming and the birds are attacking them, eating them. And the herbs are mostly going to seed, except the oregano is looking pretty good. Much of the rest of this, I'm going to have to drop some more seed. I do have zinnias over here as well. They all volunteered. The tomatoes also volunteered. And there are a few plants in here that I purchased, like the yellow zinnia and also I think it's a bell pepper over here that I almost forgot about. It was kind of kept drying out. It was almost completely dried up by the time I remembered it. And I just stuck it in the ground somewhere to get it in the ground. I'll put it in its own container later because it's definitely crowded out over here. I dropped seeds kind of late at the end of May. So I got those. And then now my seedlings I started late have outgrown the ones that I purchased from the store. So this is my pepper bed that I've been using as a pepper bed, I think, for the last few years. There is also basil in here, and it's kind of taking over the bed. It's going to seed. There are probably 5 pepper plants in here, and they're all doing well. There's also an onion or garlic that was in here that overwintered, and it's looking like it needs to, or is ready to be removed or harvested. I don't know if it has a bulb. I was primarily just using it as a pest deterrent at this point. All right, so over here I have my fig. There's also some purslane and lavender in here, and then the lavender and purslane are not doing well. I'm not sure if it was because of all the rain from last week or if it's the heat from this week. But the fig is doing fine. I found the fig at Lowe's for $15. I had never heard of this type of fig, but I was excited to see one for $15, so I went ahead and got it. Here's some more tomatoes that I got out into containers just to get them out of the starter trays. My goji berries did bounce back. I haven't knocked off these crusty leaves yet because they have thorns. Back here, I have some volunteer sunflowers that aren't looking too good down there, with the blooms are beautiful. So I'm trying to wait to put my shade cloth up into the end of the month when I'll probably go ahead and cut these down. I'm going to remove these 2 beds. I'm replacing them with slimmer beds because I think that it'll be easier to get around back into in the area. Here's another tomato. And here's why I need chickens. It's just a bunch of cucumbers mostly that overgrown in here last week when it was raining every day. You really have to check these cucumbers every day. These are all volunteer cucumbers and they produce really well. But they are about at the end of their life, and I would prefer to grow some of the varieties that I selected instead of volunteers, because these aren't true volunteers. These were lemon cucumbers last year. They are not lemon cucumbers this year. This is a lavender that I kept forgetting to water, and I've been watering it every day now, and I think it's just too late for it. I planted beans a while ago, and they are finally climbing up the trellis. They are a little light, so I think it is finally time to fertilize. I haven't fertilized any of my garden this year so far. I have 2 types of cherry tomatoes over here, an orange and a red orange. They taste pretty much the same. They're not sweet at all. They just taste like a typical tomato. They're good on a salad or on a sandwich. But I'm ready for some slicer tomatoes. and some sweeter tomatoes. Over here, I have my blueberries, and I have been battling with the critters for the last about 2 weeks at this point. The birds just won't let up. They are constantly trying to get into this thing, and they manage to get in almost every day, no matter what I do. They figure a way in. I think I finally blocked them out, hopefully, but they are determined to get in. They just bounce all around the thing all day trying to get in. And then I also have an opossum that comes at night and tries to get in, and that's why I added the gate. Now, I did harvest like 90% of these berries because I was getting robbed by these animals, but there are still berries. In this bed, I put my watermelon, cucumbers, and also some eggplants. I just need to get them out of the starter trays and into some soil. I'm going to let the watermelon and cucumbers grow on the ground, and I'll probably relocate the eggplants. Now, I put these tomatoes out a little earlier than the other plants, so they are doing better. They're a lot larger, more developed. They are Paul Robinson's and Cherokee Purple. I also have some sunflowers in the front, and they are definitely not doing well. They were probably in the seed trays for 6 to 7 weeks. So I will definitely be dropping more seeds. I'll also be taking out the bottom leaves on these tomato plants, and I probably will be planting some of them deeper. I'll just get rid of that because I've been having to pick weeds out every day, so I don't need any more weeds. I added these 15-gallon grow bags just so I could have some places to put the seedlings that had been in those seed trays for 6 weeks. I got sidetracked. I was talking about my strawberry bed that I took out of here and I put it over here. I'm going to be giving these away, and I'm going to also be getting rid of this bed here. This soil will be relocated, will be used in other containers, and there are mushrooms all over the garden because it rained all last week. Now, in this bed, I have a bunch of peppers, and I was talking about how that grass, I'll be able to get rid of it when I get rid of that bed more easily. But this bed has 3 peppers and I think 4 tomatoes in the back. And then there are 4 tomatoes in those containers, those 1 gallon containers. The ones in containers will definitely be moved. It's a 3 by 3 bed, so it's kind of crowded, but I think they'll be okay. Now over here I have my blueberries, and the leaves have gotten greener. So I think the change in soil, potting them in that soil mixture was really good for them. However, this one does not have any leaves anymore. I'm not sure if it's gonna make it. I'm just gonna keep watering it and hope it bounces back like the goji berries. I don't have to water those very often because they do have a lot of coconut coir in them. And here's my new greenhouse. It is a 4 by 6 greenhouse, so it's not very large, but I love having this new outdoor space. I plan to add a screen door to it to keep the mosquitoes out. It does have screens on the windows. This container over here, I'm going to paint it either pink or blue, turquoise, and put a melon or tomato in it. Now, I have a lot of peppers. I have mostly peppers because that's mostly what I know I'll eat. I want to try other things too, but it is hugely peppers and that I'm growing, and those are purple cayennes, and there are also tomatoes because I'm a fan of tomatoes. But I do want to drop more seeds and experiment with more things and do more season appropriate things. So my seed trays are still out here, and I'll be dumping what's left in there. This is a pop-up greenhouse, so it took literally no more than 20 minutes to put up. I did screw the legs into this wood planks, and I put the pavers and bricks on them. So it's really sturdy, and it has been through multiple storms, including the hailstorm. I did get some mulch because I'm going to add most of my beds to help retain moisture during the heat of this summer. And I have some soil. I'm going to amend the soil. I got some fertilizer as well as my 511 down there at the bottom that I've had for several years. I haven't fertilized any of the garden so far. I'm going to be doing that soon. I moved some plants out here just to make more space in the greenhouse. I have this hose reel, which I love. It's, I think, 50 feet, so I can reach everywhere in the garden. I have this bug zapper, which I'm really in love with, and I was just trying to show the light that comes on at night to attract the bugs. It definitely clears out the mosquitoes. Now I've moved my strawberries over here, the store-bought ones with my seed planted. So I grew the ones on the left from seed. The ones on the right are store-bought. And I just moved the ones that are store-bought in here. I definitely need to fix the bed though, because it's low in soil. Now this bed has been overgrown with grass. I'm getting rid of this bed entirely. I've been putting cardboard down to suppress the grass. I'm gonna eventually redo the rocks. Over here I have a self-pollinating blueberry. It's the only blueberry over here. I am gonna eventually move it to the other side. I planted herbs in here last year, and I think only so long I think only parsley and thyme are still in there and the rest are weeds. I have a broad assortment of things in here, including some squash. I was just trying to get these things into some soil, so I didn't get to keep track of things very well. They were in very small trays for way too long, so I am really surprised and grateful for how well everything is doing. Now over here I have volunteers. Almost all volunteers are free plants that were given to me. I have some lemon balm. I have some sunflowers that volunteered in the backyard, and I have Jamaican sorrel that volunteered in my front yard. I did plant Jamaican sorrel last year. I did not plan to plant it this year until I got so many volunteers up there. I have 4 to 5 plants in that bed and several on the other side of the garden. Well, that was just a quick update of the garden. I still have a lot to do, and I'm definitely going to be dropping more seeds soon and fertilizing everything. Here's another look at that bug zapper, which I'm obsessed with. And I decided to cover the panel just so you all can see what it looks like with the light, which definitely attracts the bugs. I mean, it's darker outside than it looks, but the bug zapper isn't coming on yet, so that's why I covered it up so you all can see. I'm sure it's dark enough outside now for it to be on, but I ain't trying to have a run in with that possum. Anyways, thanks for watching, y'all.